Haas and McLaren are the latest teams to test their new 2022 competitors, taking to the circuit of Barcelona-Catalunya for the first time with their VF-22 and MCL36 cars. Let's get into the shakedowns. First, the teams test their cars. Haas chose a filming day to test their car for the first time in Spain, with Nikita Mazepin being the first to get behind the wheel of the VF-22, which was released in digital render form on February 4. McLaren, like Haas, chose to give their new car, the MCL36, which was unveiled on February 11 at a live display from their factory in Woking, its first taste of the track in Spain, with Lando Norris at the wheel. When preseason testing resumes at the same track on February 23, both Haas and McLaren will put their cars through more rigorous testing, with Haas expected to show off the physical vehicle to the press in the Barcelona pit lane ahead of the start of the action. Let's talk about Haas. The team has not previously shown anything of their ultimate car, despite being the first to disclose conceptual renderings of this year's design almost a week ago. However, it shared a brief video clip of its VF-22 leaving the garage in Barcelona on Monday morning, when official preseason testing begins on Wednesday. Haas chose to run the vehicle for the first time in Spain on a filming day, with Nikita Mazepin becoming the first to get behind the wheel of the VF-22, which was unveiled in digital render form on February 4. Both Mazepin and teammate Mick Schumacher will then test the vehicle in more realistic conditions when preseason racing begins at the same track on February 23, with Haas set to show off the physical car to the press in the Barcelona pit lane prior to the start of the action. Next, we have McLaren. McLaren's new Formula One vehicle had its track premiere in Barcelona, Spain as part of a shakedown filming day. The McLaren MCL36, which was just introduced at McLaren's Woking headquarters, took to the track for the first time on Monday afternoon, only 2 days before the start of the official preseason testing at Barcelona's Circuit de Catalunya. McLaren has used one of its 2 filming days for the 2022 season to give its new vehicle a short 100-kilometer run out as a systems test. It is the most recent team to do such a test, and it comes only hours after Haas's new VF-22 made its on-track premiere at the Spanish Grand Prix venue in the morning. To date, Mercedes-Benz, Red Bull, Ferrari, AlphaTauri, Aston Martin, Williams, and Alfa Romeo have all performed an initial shakedown or demo run. McLaren's new challenger boasts an upgraded papaya and blue livery, as well as a revamped aerodynamic design, in accordance with F1's revolutionary rules reset. During the 3-day Barcelona test, which starts on Wednesday, Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo will go back behind the wheel of the MCL36 for a long run. A second 3-day test is scheduled for March 10 through 12 in Bahrain, prior to the season opening race at Sakir on March 20. Alpine will be the 9th team to publicly present its 2022 vehicle during a ceremony in Paris on Monday evening, with Alfa Romeo the only team to do so on February 27. Now, we have Red Bull. Red Bull Racing, which is considerably more secretive than Haas, executed a similar maneuver. Red Bull made no secret of the fact that the RB18 presentation was primarily for fans and sponsors and displayed no footage of the new car, but no one seemed to be aware of a shakedown on the Silverstone track. Some footage of the new RB18 was leaked, however, and it made for a fascinating study. Next, Aston Martin. During the presentation, Aston Martin was the first team to display an actual car. The crew also headed to the track right away for a shakedown, giving us our first glimpse at footage of a new 2022 vehicle in action. Next up, AlphaTauri. Things went wrong at AlphaTauri during the presentation, as the images of the automobile were already emerging on Pierre Gasly's Twitter account as watchers sat ready with a countdown broadcast. It remained a display vehicle at AlphaTauri, and we don't expect to see it on the circuit in that role. Now, we have Williams. Williams unveiled an actual vehicle for the 2022 Formula One season, complete with a new color. As Nicholas Latifi puts it, the color is still blue, but the livery is not what we've come to expect from the Grove-based squad in recent years. Next is Ferrari. Ferrari's new automobile had already emerged on the internet a day before the debut, which spoiled part of the excitement surrounding the announcement. It does not, however, make Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc's new vehicle any less stunning. The squad also headed to the circuit at Fiorano for a shakedown the day following the launch. Now we have Mercedes. The Mercedes crew took a break from their busy daytime schedule to unveil the new vehicle. The livery is no longer all black, but rather a mix of silver and black. Unlike the competition, the new Mercedes was already showing a lot of information, and despite Storm Eunice, the crew headed into Silverstone for a shakedown down in the afternoon. Next up, Alpine. The BWT Alpine F1 team was the last to leave before the winter test in Barcelona on Monday. With BWT as a new sponsor, there will be a pink tinge in the liveries starting in 2022, although it was not supposed to be as much as was displayed. Even an all-pink livery will be employed for the first 2 races. Now, let's take a look into Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo will unveil the new C42 following the first winter test on February 27, but the new vehicle has already emerged on the circuit. The Italian team did a shakedown in Fiorano with the new vehicle, which was clothed in a camouflage livery. First peek of Alfa Romeo's upcoming 2022 model. The automobile was photographed shaking down the new C42 in a private test in Fiorano. Now, in other news, Toto Wolff says Silver Arrows is in Mercedes' DNA. It won't have missed the eye of F1 fans that Mercedes W13 sees the team return to their usual silver livery following 2 seasons of running a black livery with team principal Toto Wolff, detailing the reasoning behind the transition. Mercedes has traditionally been known as the Silver Arrows, but switched back to a black livery at the start of the postponed 2020 season, with Wolff commenting at the time that the move was intended to promote respect and equality and to show their commitment to greater diversity within their team and our sport. When questioned about the return of the traditional Mercedes livery at the presentation of the 2022 spec silver-painted W13, Wolff answered that the black livery was a clear statement of purpose and a clear evidence of their desire to become a more diverse and inclusive squad. It has become part of their DNA, but the silver color of the arrows is also a part of their DNA. It is their heritage. Wolff also stated that the team's colors will now be silver and black in the future, and that Mercedes' backing of measures to encourage diversity would broaden the talent pool accessible to them. Next, FIA hoping to close loopholes in 2022 regulations. The FIA will use a 2-pronged strategy to monitor Formula One vehicle designs under the new restrictions, with the goal of closing loopholes and clamping down on unanticipated designs that undercut the goals of the 2022 regulations. The new rules were designed to improve what F1 Sports executive Ross Brawn refers to as the vehicle's raceability by minimizing turbulence that stops cars from following each other and, as a result, increasing overtaking. This is accomplished by making efforts to simplify, regulate, and redirect turbulent airflow structures. The 2 dangers that might weaken the regulations can be divided into 2 main groups. To start, there is a chance that the unanticipated interpretation of the law's wording will be exploited to provide the ability to do something that was meant to be prohibited. Second, there may be unexpected repercussions of the way the regulations were written that become obvious only after the problematic designs are either disclosed or recognized. While Braun is hopeful that teams will not abruptly implement design concepts that exploit regulatory vulnerabilities, he believes F1's governance mechanism, as defined by the current Concord Agreement signed in 2020, allows for rapid response. F1's governance allows rules for changes to be made throughout the season without the need for a consensus that existed under the previous system. If the FIA and F1 desire to make a modification, only 8 out of 10 team votes are required to effect an instant change. Lastly, Fernando Alonso open to extending contract with Alpine. At this early point, Fernando Alonso is open to extending his contract with Alpine, but he will not make a decision on his future until at least the summer. Alonso and Alpine made it official in August 2021, with the 2-time world champion extending his contract with the team to cover the 2022 season, the first chapter in Formula One's regulatory revamp. Alonso highlighted the new regulations as the major reason for his decision to return to Formula One ahead of the 2021 season after a 2-season hiatus, but he will now need to see further proof that he can still achieve his aim of adding a 3rd world championship crown to his trophy cabinet. Alonso is now willing to extend his contract for another season, but that is subject to change, so he will not hurry into any decisions. That's a wrap for this video. See you in the next one.